Alright guys, I want to go ahead and create a Jayto video, just a tutorial about how I play Jayto and my recommendations on how to play Jayto. I got Jayto to 100 and I figured now would be a good time to basically just talk about him, how I play him, and what I think is the best thing to do, basically, and how to play him. So the first thing I'm going to go over his artifacts. I have the Hunter's Idol here, decreases damage by 10% and impulse receipt by 10%. So every time you take a hit, you'll take 10% less damage, and then the impulse, the actual pushback as well, should be 10% less than. I like this artifact a lot. I actually use this on a few different other characters because I think it's really powerful, right? Not only is the damage decreased, but the impulse. And the only way to really die in this game is actually, you know, when you actually fall off the map. It isn't necessarily damage, right? It's just, can you get off? Do you get kicked off the map? So yeah, you don't want to fall off the map. So I have that equipped, and I have Rocket Radio, which decreases blast meter region delay by 2 seconds, right? So this is really great too, because the way that I play Jayto, we'll go into that a little bit later, but for right now, I think it's really powerful because when you're out of combat, it'll make that much your regen and getting your life back that much faster. In addition to that, Bastion Bell too. So KOs decrease the time until blast meter regen starts by 50%. And this is so powerful. As soon as you get a KO, with these two, your meter will go ahead and start basically regenerating. So if you get a KO, you're basically doing really well, and you can get your life back. So these are what I think are the best to equip on Jayto, just with this kit and how I played Jayto. And then we'll go ahead and we're gonna go into a quick little match, and we're gonna practice and go over his skills here really quick as well. Just show you guys his abilities and go through everything else as well. So after you have your artifacts, and if you don't have these artifacts unlocked right now, if you're not high enough level or whatever, just go ahead and equip whatever. And when you do get the artifacts, you can go ahead and equip them. Leveling this game is actually really quick. I mean, you'll play a few matches and then you'll be able to unlock the artifacts. So don't feel stressed if you don't have the artifacts just yet. So alright, so we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna talk about his kit here, right? So his left click here, Sky Piercer rockets, fast and accurate single fire, right? So this is just his basic attack that you'll be using. Rocket Swarm. A swarm of mini rockets, which is actually this is really powerful skill right here. You can KO a lot of people. It does a lot of damage over a small period of time, and the rockets are very accurate and very fast. So it's a really good finisher. It's one of my favorite finishers in this game, just because the way you can use it. We'll get to that in a minute. And then for the last thing, we have his left shift, which is his thruster suit. Temporarily boost mobility and Sky Piercer rockets. And this is really powerful. Not only does it help him kind of escape and give him some mobility, but it also increases like the rocket size and the rocket damage, so it makes it a lot easier for you to hit your shots. So this is actually a really powerful skill as well, and not only does it give you some defensive option, but it also makes you just very powerful with landing your left clicks and doing the damage, right? So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to hit this dummy. We're just going to show the left click here. So if we shoot him once here, it does a fair amount of damage, just his basic attacks, right? And so you can see right here, with, full round, you can get him to bar, right? Which is pretty awesome. If you hit him with 6 shots, that are direct hits, with these artifacts, right? You'll have him at bar. And then you can go ahead and just one more left click and shoot him off, right? So his left click is really powerful. His projectiles, they're not super fast, but they're not super slow, right? So I'm gonna stand back here and you guys can kind of see, and then you can also see, we're gonna left click and see how long it takes, right? So the biggest thing is obviously landing your shots as well. So you wanna make sure that you're timing these correctly and stuff and getting a good feel. For me too, I recommend going into practice mode and trying out all the characters as well, and just getting a good feel about how their shots work and stuff like that. But yeah, it's really important to learn how Jayto shoots. And another thing is, I don't hold down left click when I'm firing. I fire each one of these. I try to line up my shot, kind of guesstimate, where I'm going to click, and kind of, just shoot. So that's just kind of his left click and stuff like that. And then let me show you guys his right click here. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to right click on this guy. And you can see how much just damage that did, right? Like half of his bar. That's with all the shots. So it fires, you know, once again, a swarm, you know, of mini rockets. So what you can actually do here, which is great for finishers, which will, here, we'll just reset this. We'll put them in this corner over here, and I'll show you guys. What's great about this swarm is when they're barred here. So what you can do is when they're barred, like this, you can actually spray with this. So if you're over here, you can kind of go like that and hit people, and you can see a little spray there. So I'm actually going to wait for this cooldown so we actually miss. But we're going to go ahead and you can just finish them like that. You know, it's really powerful. This spray. You definitely don't want to use this like just willy-nilly, you know. You definitely want to make sure your shots hit. So when I'm right-clicking, I want to make sure that, you know, some of these shots are going to hit on them, because you can see down there, you know, it's a 9-second cooldown on your next one. So it's really, you know, really powerful. You definitely want to, you know, use that to gain some damage on people, and I pretty much only use it when I can guarantee the shots, or if I'm trying to finish them off and I want to guarantee it, right? Because it's really easy to hit it. Hit it with the right click here. So, as we miss again. But yeah, the point here is basically, you know, you can spray a little bit, and I'm kind of trying to show how much you can spray, but obviously doing it too much rather than being a little more accurate. But yeah, it's really great. So the next thing to do, and so say you're getting pushed up, right? And this guy's beating you up. I love to, you know, you can always Q, you can always try to move, you know, stuff like that. But what's really great is when you get pushed up is actually his shift as well. So you become a lot faster when you're pushed up in the air, and you use your shift. And you can kind of, you know, really glide and dodge more shots. So the shift is really strong, you know, you can really get up here. And I do this a lot when I'm fighting like 1v1 versus like a top-notch or a boon. It's really powerful just to, you know, shift up, get in their face, and just, you know, land some clicks like this, you know, and you're just in their face just constantly. And then you just right-click on them when you can guarantee the right click, you know, and you're just like this, you know, up in their face, right-click, boom, dead. Just really powerful. And it kind of goes into my Jayto build as well. The way I built Jayto is around me getting kills, right? So my whole goal is Jayto is I try to get in there, I try to get a kill. Even if I'm damaged, I'll go ahead and I'll try to just stay out of combat and regen fast and then get back into combat. So my whole goal is, you know, try to get the kill, you know, as fast as I can. When I guarantee the kill, go ahead, stand out for a second, and then try to regen with my blast meter. And then I get back into combat, right? So that's kind of like the Jayto basics, right? So you kind of, you know... And I individually left click once again, individually left click, you know, you got your right click where you really nail them, and then your shift is great because if you really want to, if someone's really low, you can always shift to increase your rocket size and your rocket damage, right? So it's really good if you feel like you're, you know, you're kind of nervous, you're going to miss your shot, just hit that shift key, and your shots will, you know, you'll have a better chance of landing them there. So that's kind of like the JSIC basics. We can also go into like some movement basics and stuff like that as well. And just some general tips when playing Jayto. The most important thing in this game, I feel like, is just not getting hit. You know, being evasive and stuff like that. A lot of people, the first thing to learn is to learn to hit your Q, right? You need to know when to hit your Q and when not to hit your Q. You want to save your Q a lot of the time for when other people try to use their special abilities on you. Or you're gonna die and you just want to, you know, get some additional time as well. So if you're like in the air, you're barred, you see the shot come in, you can't dodge it, definitely obviously use your Q then to make sure that you dodge it and stuff like that. But yeah, you can also use your shift in as well. Your shift is very great when you're, you know, you're really up there once again. So that's kind of the Jayto basics here. You know, be evasive, make sure you land your shots. I try to line up and left click my shots, because if you hold this down, it's not like, if you're playing Plink, yeah, it's okay to play Plink and you're holding down left click. I even do Rev, and when I play Rev, I kind of hold down left click a little bit more. But Jayto, it's a very line up your shot and left click here, right? So, alright, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show some of like the matchups, I guess, here, and just walk through the different characters that I personally like to match against and I think are a lot easier to fight in this game. So we'll go ahead and we'll go over that here. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go back to the competitors. and I'll walk you guys through, you know, kind of the matchups and stuff like that, because that's what's really important, right? When you're in a match, you're playing Jayto. I think he's an okay character. He really shines in knockouts, I think, because of his his skill set. I almost said kill set, but just kind of accurate, right? He's really good at killing people. He doesn't have many abilities that really are good for any of the objective-based maps. So when you're playing Arena, I really don't recommend playing Jayto for Arena. He feels like a good 1v1. I love doing 1v1s on Jayto against certain classes, right? I feel like that's where he really shines. He's really good in knockout, and he's really good at just, you know, killing people. But as far as, you know, other abilities, you know, like M4 is really good at getting the point. You know, they all have their things to shine. I feel like, you know, you should really play him in knockout. I really think that's the best way to do it. So the next thing is I'm going to go through the matchups here. So for the matchups here, let's go M4. I love fighting M4s. I think they're really easy. Sometimes you can hit them when they're in their water thing. When they burst you up, they have this whole shift thing where they burst you up in the water. I normally nail them, and I hold my right click for that, because if you can look at them and right click on them, you can usually just kill M4s. So being a Jayto, it's great when they knock. Say you get knocked up, you know. All right, I'm just gonna left click and then right click on you, and you can just knock them out because they're already so high up that you can just push them off, and it's a great matchup. You know, Jayto versus Jayto. You know, I normally like that matchup as well because I played a lot of Jayto, so I kind of know what they're trying to do. Right, they're trying to right click on me. You know, they're trying to do stuff. I love fighting Jayto versus Jayto personally. Izel, that's another great matchup, I think, for Jayto. I don't mind fighting them. The biggest thing is, you know, they kind of use their shift on you and stuff like that. Still a great matchup because, you know, you can left click on them. They try to get out of jail for free, but it's a pretty... it's still, the matchup isn't that bad. You know, general tactics are, you know, left click on her, right click on her when she's, you know, doing her shift to try to get out of stuff. Definitely hold on to your left or your right click to make sure that you hit her with that. So I'd be left clicking, waiting for her to use her shift to do her little push attack, and then just right click on her. Plink, that's another great matchup in my opinion. I like fighting Plinks. The only thing is Plink's attack, if they're really good, they can hit you with all those attacks, and they're kind of disorienting, which makes it a little more difficult to land your shots. But I still feel like this is a great matchup as well. Now we're getting to Kai, and I don't like this matchup that much. I think she's a very powerful character. When she's in her bubble, she's very difficult to kill. So there's times when she's just in her bubble, I'll just try to, you know, attack somebody else. But when she's in her bubble, there's different strategies, right? One strategy is get in the bubble with her to land your shots, right? I'd recommend this if, you know, you think you can win the matchup. If she's really good, in that case, you know, you might just want to wait for her bubble to be down to engage and kind of just play defensively, and just wait for her to get out of her bubble and then try to attack her. When she doesn't have her bubble up, she's, you know, not the best character, so you can definitely wreak havoc on her. Blastbeard, I feel like that's another great matchup. Blastbeard, when you start pushing him up, you just continue to push him up. I think it's a pretty easy matchup. You can land your shots on Blastbeard really easily. I normally don't make him a priority target because he takes a lot of hits, but when there's nobody else up, I definitely left click on him a few times to make sure his blast meter stays up there, and just to get the kill, but not necessarily a high priority target, but definitely someone who's easy to hit. And when you shift, your rockets are so huge, you can just nail this guy and just keep holding. You just keep left clicking on this guy and get rid of him. Miss Dean, another great matchup in my opinion. You can basically, you know, if you kind of have to learn how to play against her because she definitely can use her. She has this ability on her where she can use Phantasm, where basically it materializes a double. So she can basically, you know, create a double of herself. So you kind of have to know which one you're shooting at. And what I like to do when I'm fighting her is I'll shoot it. You know, you can shoot at both. And if one takes a lot more damage, that's the fake. So the one that takes a ton of damage, you're like, nope, and then you start shooting the other one. And then if you see him, like, she can also swap between these. So if you see her do the swap, then you go back to the other target. So you kind of gotta just be aware of, you know, which one is the Phantom and which one isn't the Phantom. Mirror Shear is just so powerful though. When she's using that, you know, just save your left clicks and wait for her just to not have the shield anymore, and then just keep spamming with rockets. Top Notch, this is one of my favorite fights to fight against. Once again, I like to shift on Top Notches and just get up in their face and just left click on them, and then you right click and by that time, because you're already shifted and they're probably up in the air, you can almost knock them out if you get lucky, or if they're really close. You can just right click and knock them out. So I love getting in their faces, and using shift really makes that very helpful to just fly up there and just, you know, they get scared because they don't want you in that proximity, and you can just left click on them and then right click and they're pretty much done. Flux is an okay matchup. The problem with Flux is she has this ability where she can hide. So you'll get her really low and she'll start hiding. So you basically, when she starts hiding, she actually leaves a little trail, and you can follow that trail around as well. And depending on how good the Flux is, you know, some of them can get away, some of them can't. You can follow them, and then you can just right click, left click, and, you know, they're dead. Black Hole is really easy to dodge. You know, overall, I don't think Flux is a very powerful character. I know people can probably use her really well, but you can easily hit Q to get out of this. So you save your Q for her to Black Hole, and her left click, she only has 3 shots. So it's a pretty easy matchup. You do way more damage than she does, and you can just right click, left click. The worst thing is just when she hides, and then you're going to take damage from other teammates. So you just got to learn how to either follow the trail or focus someone else, and then know where she's at, and then focus back on her. Boon matchup. Boon can be, if there's a really good Boon, it can be a difficult matchup. For the most part, though, it's very similar to Top Notch, where I like to do the same technique where I fly up next to him and just right click, left click, and just try to knock him out. The thing about Boon, though, is he can actually shift push you, and he has some other abilities that can be a little difficult, right? His actual shot and his left click are really powerful, because he's basically a sniper, right? So he can like snipe you, and he can snipe you a lot more accurately. So if he's really good, he can snipe you from far away and just annihilate you before you can even get close to him. And then when you're that low, he can just use his ricochet burst, which is really difficult when you're trying to hide, right? So if you're trying to hide behind corners, Boon can just left click and knock you out. It's very powerful. And but overall, it's a decent matchup. You know, Rev. This is definitely my least favorite matchup. Rev is just so mobile that you can't really hit her very well. And don't beat yourself up if you're fighting against a Rev and you just can't land your shots. This is the most difficult matchup, and the one I really don't like fighting. If I can, I normally don't even try to fight Revs. If I can fight somebody else, I will fight them, right? She's definitely my least favorite, and I would not try fighting her. But if the Rev isn't that great and not that agile, you can definitely, you can still beat her. But it's definitely, in my opinion, the worst matchup, right? So worst matchup, okay matchup, good matchup. I really like this matchup a lot, the Top Notch, because you can wreck him. Okay matchup, good matchup, difficult, I'd say this is the most difficult, then this is the most difficult, and then probably Mistine, then Plink, and then all the other ones I think I kind of like. So, but the thing is, Rev is such a popular character that it makes it really difficult, right? Jayto isn't very popular. Not many people play Jayto, even though he's the first character you play, but this Rev matchup is just really difficult. So it's kind of like the matchup walkthrough and stuff like that. And I think that kind of covers it, just like the overall basics, land your shots, dodge shots, and general matchup info and his skills. If you guys have any questions, though, feel free to just leave them in the comments and stuff like that, and I can answer them to the best of my ability and let you guys know. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning into this video, and yeah, take care. And if you have any questions, once again, just let me know. Take care. Thanks. Bye.